What is that, you say? Well, it's learning how to be while imagining and writing it down. Essentially, experimenting with writing and acting simultaneously. The better you write, the richer the scene. The better you act, the better you can be. Be bold, be brilliant, be original, be imaginative, be generous in giving, but whatever you do, be. Because if you don't be, who do? Come, be with us. Christina Cultural Arts. Inspire greatness.
Crossfire, another point of view. I'm your host, Norman Oliver.
Bingo.
Joined by my co-host. I know I gotta give you like a cool name, like Super G or something like that. Like you can't.
We'll
just
work
be
on
like,
it. We'll work on it.
Next show.
You gotta put some thought into it.
So it's been an incredible 48 hours. It's been an incredible 4 days, right?
Yes.
And one of the guys who have been an organizer in our city. And you know, I talked to a friend of mine, Jermaine.
Right.
He said, you know, sometimes people are rebel rousers.
Right.
But they get things done. And sometimes you gotta overturn the apple cart, whatever it is. And so Pastor D is one of those guys. And I think that we're gonna have people on this show like we used to. And we're gonna be involved with politics. Right? We're gonna talk about controversial issues, right?
Right.
Because we want to.
Yes.
So we're not afraid to tackle anyone who comes on this show. And at some point, you guys are going to have us a telephone so we could take calls so the audience can engage with us, because we're okay with that.
Yes, absolutely. I'm ready for it. I think it's important that we get the audience in on the show and get their take on it.
Thank you. Pastor D, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
I'm well, Norm. Thank you for having me here. And thank you, grandson. It's nice to see the third generation of you. Maybe we can call him Little Thunderstorm or something.
Thank you very much. Pastor, let's jump right into it, right? Why did you think it was important to organize the rally last night? I'm going to ask you a few questions, right?
Okay. First, let's put that in context. I heard your intro. The rally and protest that I was one of the leaders of, not organizers, was actually organized by three groups, or two groups and myself, that being the Black Lives Matter and the Food Not Bombs group, and myself and our group. Now, the organization of it came about right there at Rodney Square.
But your name stands out.
My name stands out because my name is known.
But we can't ignore that point.
Well, you don't have to. I'm not ashamed of anything that took place. In your lead-in, you said Pastor D's one of the organizers of the rally that went, or the march that went bad.
Right.
That's not the truth. It was an entirely different march.
Okay.
It was an entirely different march.
So, but at some point, you would agree something went awry.
At some point, what went awry was designed to go awry.
Okay.
If you
tell us why.
Look at the news in every city, Norm.
Right.
Every city where there's been a protest, there have been two protests.
Absolutely.
There have been the people outraged about the murder of the brother, George, and there have been the people who riot and burn buildings. Outside agitators lead them another way. In our case, our rally protest went from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Gotcha.
That was black, white, short, tall, indifferent. It was 100% peaceful.
Gotcha.
Your own attorney general was there. City councilmen were there. Councilman Trippy Congo was beside me most of the time. We rallied, we spoke, we marched. When we left the front of the city county building, about 500 or so strong, as we came back to Rodney Square to disperse, we noticed another group that went up Market Street.
Gotcha.
We realized that some of the people in that group were people I and we had confronted back at our rally. There was a group, I believe, out of Philadelphia of men. None of them were from Wilmington. but they were organized. They knew what they were doing.
Tell me about that group. We talked about that group. I think you called them the Black Israelites.
I don't know if that's their tag or what have you. I'll just say it was a group of brothers that weren't from Wilmington, and they were all in uniform and what have you, and you could tell the difference between the people with them and the people from Wilmington. They came into the crowd, their leadership came up, and they demanded the bullhorn. We were using a bullhorn. I had the bullhorn in my possession. They were yelling obscenities, F the police, let it burn, burn, baby, burn, eye for eye. Young people who were there catch up on that kind of energy. And when we dispersed and left, I had totally left downtown.
What time was this?
We left at 2 p.m. At that time, these guys and other people
they took over the march rally or whatever you want to call it, right?
They hijacked the energy. They didn't take anything from us because we didn't allow them, but they hijacked our young. Norm, understand that our young people, they're fed up for a whole nother reason.
I got you.
And they're ready to tear up. But they have no leaders in the street. They have no leadership. So what they do is they look for the charismatic, loud person that seems to be saying what they want to hear, and they follow that person. Well, the agitators know that. They know that. So they come, just like they did in D.C., just like they did in Minneapolis and every other city, and they instigate that energy and lead them the wrong way.
And that's groups of different colors, right?
Huh?
That's white and black.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you mean the outside agitators?
Yeah, right.
They were different. It was one little white girl that was, man,
So
she cussed like she was making a rap record. And she was encouraging people. She encouraged, in fact, one little African-American girl was with our group that jumped up on a police car. She got on the car, and other people started coming, and she was punching. Trippy Congo and myself cleared a whole corner by ourselves. Why? Because the kids knew us.
Right.
They listened to us. And if there were more people down there and faces that they recognized, they probably wouldn't have went with that other group, and it might not have morphed into last night.
Jermaine, you have a question?
Black people have been marching for decades for their rights. It could be marching, it could be rioting, it could be looting. What's the next step to change how black people are being treated in America?
You're asking me and young man, thank you for your question. I think it's a good question. I have to stop, rewind, play back to your grandfather's words. He said, well, Pastor D, rabble rouser. One of the things is we have to respect and appreciate every component of the Civil Rights March. Activism is a noble profession.
That's right.
We need activists. They do some of the things Norm talked about. Right. But when we view them as agitators and rabble rousers, and then we communicate that to your generation, then we don't necessarily get the best they have because we create wounds. Now, what we do from here is that energy you saw last night with your generation, with those young people, is still unharnessed. All they did was last night was cry out for leadership. They're poor, they're jobless, they're angry, they're frustrated, and they're right there on the east side, west side. So all you grandmoms and grandpops, those were your children down there last night. They were your grandchildren. And what we do is we go get them. We don't wait for them to come to us. But when we go get them, we need to have program, one, some type of housed therapeutic process for the ones already in the lifestyle. Two, a buy-in to a very dynamic program or platform, if you will, that gets them into lawful living. The teenagers of Dr. King's day studied the Constitution. They understood lawful living. Our generations of this day, they're not into the political body like that, so they don't have a constitutional mindset, and I'm my brother's keeper, etc. We got to pour that into them the way gangster rap pours the guns and bullets into them.
Let me keep you on. Let me keep you over here, right? So at some point, right? How did a peaceful rally get to I-95, stopping traffic, get to Market Street and looting, right?
Two reasons, and I think Dr. King said it best. When good men sit down, evil men stand up. All over the state, there are frustrated, angry people, young and old. They're not mad at the cops, and I think we're being narrow when we think that this is about only the cops.
Right.
It's about the institutionalized unfairness. In other words, we're not just afraid of the cop who gets caught and doesn't get punished while he murders somebody on TV. What about the bad cop that people complain about year after year, beating up folks' kids, taking their jewelry and this kind of thing, and nothing is ever done about him, who comes back into community and teases? So it's the institution that approves of, seemingly, or that allows bad people to continue to do bad things to people. And what you saw were people on the east side, people on the west side, people on the hilltop that decided, well, since the powder keg is exploding, today is the day that I'm going to express my rage. So it's very easy to make that happen. Again, if there were recognizable personalities of people they respect,
Right.
so we can't stay back when we see them. We got to go out there and say, hey, little starter pistol, I'm your grandmama's pastor. I tell your we got to go out there, and when they see us and they know us, then they will respond, and we can but if not, the agitator will come in from Chester, Philly, somewhere else, and tell them, burn, baby, burn.
Let me ask you another question. So you know this is Community Crossfire. We ask tough questions.
Come on,
And
Crossfire.
we don't care about engaging in any kind of dialogue because we're here for the long run, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what is your frustration, right? Not only with the African American community, but because you're a pastor, what is your frustration with the reverends, the pastors of this city and this country? Because you're activists.
My,
Woo, woo.
my,
That's how we
frus-
do it.
my frustration with the pastors is manyfold, and I'm a pastor myself. I love pastors.
Right.
I love pastors. I wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't for a pastor, Pastor Aaron R. Moore. So I love pastors. I love Bishop Williams. But my grievance is there is no clergy, brotherhood, unity, alliance in Wilmington.
Wow.
It's a game. We're like the Sadducees and the Pharisees. There's a group over here, there's a group over there, and everybody is really fighting for a spot in the limelight or some federal dollars or to be patted on the head by a political official. But if the preachers would roll by the code that we're supposed to be living by for the people, if we did that, we would have a greater unity. You got pastors in their pulpit bad-mouthing me. You got pastors in their pulpit bad-mouthing Hanifa Shabazz, bad-mouthing. We don't do that. That's not what preachers do. We don't teach our people to go around disliking people. We heal and help people. We're not jealous because Pastor D gets some press. That's really why some of them now, most pastors for the most part, show me love. But the reason we can't organize is because we get behind the door. You don't want him here. You don't want that one. And as long as the pastors don't roll by the I am my brother's keeper's rule, they're not going to have any power. The kids don't respect the pastors because the pastors don't respect one another.
My man. Good. You got a question?
Yes, how do you think the president has handled the murder of George Floyd and the protest that
Pastor
comes
D,
behind
we
it?
got 2 minutes for you.
Well,
to answer
Mr.
that.
Trump, poorly. I'll just say it like that, poorly. Mr. Trump handles everything like this poorly, but he celebrates it because you know what? The climate that you saw last night was created by the rhetoric of our president. A couple of the white protesters that were hollering burn, baby, burn earlier had mega hats.
Exactly.
Hello? And you can't tell me that they were there to defend the rights of African-American men.
Yes.
They were there to create a situation.
Yes.
Down in Dover, there's a group of a radical group of young Klan members who are calling for a race war up here toward
Yeah.
Claymont. They got some skinheads. You know what I mean? They talking about they ready for the race war. They won't come on the east side, west side with that stuff, but they ran. So that whole
Do you
climate.
think, I know we only got a minute, but real quickly, do you think some of those folks are coming into some of the rallies and inciting it also?
Oh, they definitely are in the rallies. They are definitely
'Cause
there.
I heard that.
At the rallies. I'm telling you, this guy actually tried to tussle with me to take a bullhorn, but it was too many young brothers from Wilmington that said, nah, you don't want to do that. That's Pastor D. And I'm telling you, that's why we have to come together. When our kids see what goes on in city council, and they look to us to be their leaders, and they see us cut each other's head off, sarcastically disrespect each other, and sabotage each other, the kids say, man, I'd rather be in the gang. At least we got love for one another. My boy that gave me the dope, at least he loved me for real. He'll die with me. They look at us talking about life in the American way, and we don't even like each other.
Well, I'll tell you this. So, ladies and gentlemen, you can see we're back live. And once we get, I'm going to bring you back because, you know, I like this kind of format. You know, we kind of get loose. Jermaine, who's our next guest?
Angeles Gilmore.
Is that Pastor Angeles Gilmore? And she was one of the organizers?
Evangelist
Gilmore?
Deborah Gilmore spoke, several women spoke yesterday, and she was one of the women who spoke for the women and the mothers of grandma. Matter of fact, she stood up to one of the rabble-rousers from out of town.
Gotcha.
He tried to take the microphone from her. So again, our rally was peaceful, it was orderly, and we left at 2 p.m.
Maybe you shouldn't have left.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have, Norm, but my children...
You shouldn't start something and leave it.
Maybe.
Leave
No,
it
I
in
didn't
chaos.
start that. I didn't start that.
You was a part of the rally at the beginning and you left.
No, I left to go find you to see
what
why
you looking
you
for me
were going
for?
to meet me down there, man.
All right, we're going to be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're enjoying Community Crossfire. This is what we do. And we're back. We're going to get Channel 28 back rocking and rolling. Ivan, we're rolling. The break? Thank you, man. Good job.
I like him.
I'm Tabitha Aries, Christina Cultural Arts Center's School of the Arts Program Manager. CCAC offers fall and winter spring class sessions, which can be viewed on our customer portal. Just visit our website at ccacde.org. Be sure to stop in during our Art Loop on First Fridays for a happy hour networking mixers. Christina Cultural Arts Center, we're here for you.